Welcome back to Pure Food for Thought, and I'm here with Jaime K of Save the Kales. And when we left, we were last talking about the vegan community and some of the stumbling blocks you've had and some of the things that have made you like a little bit more confident in what you do. Yeah. So what do you think you learned from your experience with your interaction with the vegan community? Like, have you found that there's probably just as much or more support?
Yeah, there's a tremendous amount of support. That's the bulk of it, because I think at the end of the day, we're all kind of fighting the same good fight, right. Whether we're doing it for animals or for health or for like local food activism. But there are, of course, always, I suppose, in any sort of like group of people, the people who get really excited about not liking other people or other things, or they're convinced that they're not doing it in the quote unquote right way. And so that was a massive lesson. The first time that there was like a war on Save the Kales launched by some people who were vegan, I just remember thinking like, but we're all fighting for the same thing. Like, we're all trying to share the same message. Why? I couldn't even comprehend that. And I thought if we're all on the same team and you're hating what I do, then like, how could anybody else possibly like it? You know?
How do you not take it personally?
I totally took it personally, but I think it goes back to something I touched on earlier, which is, you know, now I've learned to kind of at least look at where it's coming from, because anybody can be critical. And like, we all know that, especially on the internet, people can be very critical. They would say things online that they would never, ever say to somebody in real life. So is it constructive criticism? Is there anything to be pulled out of it? Is there a lesson in the middle of some giant rant telling you how awful you are? Maybe there's something that you could actually take from that and apply and learn. And then all the rest of the stuff, just throw it away. Yeah.
So it's okay to let it, I mean, you've learned to let a lot of things go.
Yeah, I've tried to find a lesson, and then if I find one, that's awesome, and then I let the rest go. Yeah.
So how do you find your voice, or have you found that that's helpful to you, that kind of like open forum, the internet forum? Have you found that that's helped refine your voice and your message?
Yeah, because I think that if I'm preaching compassion and kindness, which is why I'm vegan at the core of it, I need to extend that to other people, even when it's really, really hard. And so every time something like that happens, it's an opportunity to treat people with kindness, to listen to what they're saying. And also, you know, if somebody's ranting on and on about how awful you are, and you just say, thank you for sharing your opinion, and they continue to rant, they look kind of silly then. So I just let that play out. Yeah.
So as a woman owning a small business, and I imagine a lot of younger women admire you for what you do. So you're probably frequently asked for advice on starting a blog or, you know, following a passion, if it's especially food related, because you're a health coach as well, right? You're
I'm a vegan lifestyle coach, which is, that's part of it. Health is part of it.
So you probably get approached frequently by younger people or other women who want to start a business. Like, is there some kind of like advice that you have to offer, especially with, you know, learning the lessons and stumbling, and how do you stay resilient?
You have to just start. And I sometimes feel insecure because I don't have super fancy camera to take food photography pictures. And well, thank you.
It's like if you were, you wouldn't know.
You know, my website is not have all the bells and whistles. I mean, there's so much I want to do, but I didn't have the funds, or I didn't even have the know-how, and so I just started doing something with what I had, and it's led to all this stuff. And I think that we get so caught up in trying to be perfect, and we look at the people who are doing like really awesome stuff, and we think that we have to be that on day one.
Overnight.
Yeah. And you forget that things take time and that you have to do things to figure them out. And so just, you know, starting a blog is free. Starting a podcast is free. There's always equipment. There's always stuff you could do. But so much of this, like, you don't have to ask permission for anything now with the way our society is and technology.
Don't have to ask for permission.
Yeah, if you want to start a TV show, go and make one. You can do it on your cell phone and upload it to YouTube, and you've just made a TV show in 10 minutes, and the whole world can watch it. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of the biggest like hurdles that you've had, or have you like stumbled in such a big way and thought, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I just said that, did that, I'll never recover?
I think the thing that's been the most detrimental to me is actually feeling like I shouldn't share when good things happen, because I know I've definitely done the thing where I've seen somebody and like their whole life looks amazing, and then I feel bad about myself. And I started to become aware that perhaps I was part of that, like by not being as vulnerable maybe. And so then when good things started happening, I wouldn't talk about them ever. And that was kind of like a weird, like taking some steps backwards. I don't know what that was all about. I think I'm still like figuring that out.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that I don't ever want to be part of something that would make someone else feel bad for themselves. And so to like avoid anybody thinking that my life is perfect and theirs is not, I just stopped talking about anything good for a while.
Right. But you probably cheerlead other people's causes.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
But sometimes you find it hard then to champion your own cause. And but we all know if we don't do it, and it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done. When I started my blog and my husband would read it, he would say, "Oh my gosh, Phoebe, people are going to think like you are like so full of yourself in your own head." And I thought, oh my goodness, like that's not what I intend. I just want to share, and I get excited. So you probably feel the same way, like you would like to share, but then sometimes it's a struggle because you don't want to toot your own horn.
Yeah, that's it too. But I think the more that we talk about like this authentic place and like even showing people the process, like, you know, I'm sure anything good that's happened, like a lot of us have messed up a lot before the good thing happened. And so if we can talk about those mess ups, those mistakes, those lessons, right? We're going to call them lessons. That gives some humanity to it.
Yes.
And so that's been really exciting to talk about the struggles as well as the good things. And I think that when you do that, it shows people that good things don't just like jump out of the sky at you. You work for them and you stumble a little bit, and then they can happen if you are persistent and persevere.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people sometimes just forget about all those struggles that it takes to get to be where you are. So 2 years you've been doing
the show,
TV shows, and you can catch that on, what's the local station?
It's RCN Cable,
and iFood TV.
iFood TV, yep.
So we can follow you as you do like the farm tours.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we do all kinds of stuff. We go all over the place with the show. But yeah, you can see all of that through the show. Everything's on YouTube as well. If people don't live locally or they don't get the station, they can also watch every show on YouTube.
And what are some of the shows that people are most responsive to in terms of cooking? Like, what do you feel has been most successful for you in sharing like a vegan lifestyle? Do you think it's like a healthy spin on things, or do you think it's...
I think it's the ease through which I like to think I present it.
Right.
It's important to me that if I'm using an ingredient that's maybe a little more foreign, I can explain what it is and say, this is where you get it, and it's not very expensive, and here's how you use it. Okay. It's important to me to make everything accessible. And so, yeah, the health stuff, I mean, I think people get really excited when they can cook something that's healthier, a healthier version for them. Like I have a beer and cheese soup that's actually made out of vegetables, and it's vegan.
Sounds really good.
And yeah, and it's amazing and it's super creamy, and I think people get really excited when they learn that you can blend like potatoes and carrots and you can make this really creamy soup and not have to throw dairy in it. Like, so it's kind of like an empowerment thing too, that people can learn something that's actually a skill and then use it every day and feed themselves and feed them family. It's kind of like nourishing, from the inside out. Yeah,
exactly. So in terms of, and I want to go back to this because this is something that I think is so crucial. Like when you take the risk to go on and do your own TV show and you open yourself to criticism from other people, especially with like body image and the perception that people have about vegans, because there are so many different reasons people go vegan. How did you get past that?
Well, I didn't really have a choice. It was either stop doing the show, and that wasn't an option. Yeah. And so now I'm actually pulling a lot more body image and body positivity stuff into my work. It's funny because nobody's ever said, like, you're too fat to care about marriage equality, but for some reason people say, how could you be vegan and look like that? And it's like, well, I don't know. I think guacamole's delicious.
Yeah.
I think that unhealthiness is hating yourself because you had a cupcake at your friend's birthday party. Like, that to me is unhealthy. So if I'm talking again about health, that means healthy in your mind too. So yeah, I had to get over it.
Okay. So I love this, like the whole perception that the way your life changed probably now that you took this risk, you took the risk to start the blog, you took the risk to become certified as a health coach, a vegan health coach, lifestyle. And the TV show, I think, is just a big step to take. So you've become very successful, and actually you were nominated for
a Mid-Atlantic Emmy.
Yay! I think that's so exciting, and especially like a woman doing it. That makes me very excited.
Yeah, that was cool.
But it sounds like what you hope people learn from your story is to not take yourself too seriously. It's okay to share your passion and do it unapologetically.
Ooh,
right?
I like
That's what it sounds like. This is what you're saying. And to follow your passion. I think that's probably that's what I gather. And to know that you can expect to stumble, to share that as often as you share your successes.
Yeah, and that it's going to look different for you than for other people.
That's true.
When I started a blog, I thought everything I posted had to be about yoga and green smoothies because every vegan blog was like yoga green smoothies, and I didn't even know if I had a place in this community. So figuring that out is super important, but you're only going to know what that is if you start. So just start.
Yes. I think it's an incredible story. I think it's amazing.
Thank you.
And before I forget, we should make sure to mention that you are part of the Bethlehem VegFest.
Yeah.
And when is that?
It's going to be August 23rd in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It is free. It is huge. We get about 10,000 people. Kids are welcome. Dogs are welcome. You should come.
And you should totally bring your non-vegan friends or non-vegan partners. It's a lot of fun. I went last year. You can find the info from last year's on my blog. But be sure to find Jaime's show, Save the Kales, and follow her TV series and her blog. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.